Truce between Israel and Hamas is over. Israel says Hamas violated the rules of the pause, so they have resumed fighting in the Gaza Strip. Hamas says Israel broke the truce. NBC's Bree Jackson is in Washington, D.C. with the very latest for us. And Bree, what do we know about the end of the temporary pause?
Good morning, Maureen. So Israel resumed combat operations in Gaza despite international pressure for the ceasefire to be extended as long as possible. Loud explosions and black smoke coming from the Gaza Strip this morning. Israel's military launching airstrikes after accusing Hamas of firing at Israeli territory, a move they say violated the terms of a 7-day ceasefire. During that time, Hamas freed hostages in exchange for the release of Palestinian prisoners, and aid flowed into Gaza.
We all recognize more needs to be done, more needs to get in, but we shouldn't discount the incredible work that has been done on the ground to get more food, water, medicine, and even fuel to the people of Gaza over the last week.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken remains in the Middle East, but is now in Dubai. On Thursday, he met separately with the president of the Palestinian Authority and Israeli leaders with hopes of extending the pause in fighting, but stressed that Israel must take active steps to minimize casualties when fighting began.
That the massive loss of civilian life and displacement of the scale that we saw in northern Gaza not be repeated in the south. As I told the Prime Minister, intent matters, but so does the result.
The government of Israel says it's committed to securing the release of hostages and eliminating Hamas.
We refuse to live any longer next to this terror enclave in constant fear of terrorists crossing the border and butchering our people, butchering our children.
Combat operations resuming in Israel, further complicating efforts to free those still held in captivity. And during the week-long truce, officials say more than 100 hostages were released by Hamas, while Israel released 240 Palestinians that were being held in Israeli jails. Maureen?
And Bree, fighting has begun again, but is there any news on if the ceasefire can begin again or more hostages be released?
Well, that's something that's still in negotiations. We do know that the Israeli president reached out to the president of the United Arab Emirates and asked him to use his political weight to help free the remaining hostages. The UAE is a regional power there, but has so far not been involved in the negotiations.
All right. Bree Jackson, live for us. Thank you so much.